Hi, I'm Spencer,
And I'm Blake.
and you're about to get jumped.
Welcome to episode 267 of Blake and Spencer Get Jumped, a weekly podcast where we watch the anime so you don't have to.
But you should still totally watch the anime.
This week on Get Jumped, we're watching Fire Force episodes 21 through 24, plus the first 3 episodes of Trigun, where fire powers are literally anything, and Vash can be literally anyone else.
Yeah, it turns out characters that were created in like old anime sometimes turn into like straight up cartoon characters. And because of that, they have the abilities and the malleability of cartoon characters.
Yeah.
And so Vash the Stampede, he really could do whatever the fuck he wants, and you're not going to be able to do anything about it.
That's
and
true.
anyways, let's jump in.
All right. Oh,
Man.
I put my Trigun stuff in the wrong spot, but it's there.
So, have you been watching any other anime other than the anime that we watched?
I have not. I've been intending to get caught back up on Digimon Beat Break because I haven't watched it in a few weeks. That's the only one that's been top of mind. The only thing I've watched is we did a Jurassic Rewind marathon. I went to my very first movie marathon at a movie theater. We watched all the first 3 Jurassic Park movies, one after the other. And by one after the other, I mean there was an hour-long intermission between them, which was like maybe a little bit longer than I would strictly have liked, at least between the second and third one. Because the first, after Jurassic Park, started at 11 a.m. So after Jurassic Park, it was like, oh, I can go get lunch, and I've got an hour, and it's not a big deal. But after Jurassic Park 2, it was like, well, I'm just dicking around at a theater with nothing to do for an hour. Can we just, like, can we cut this? So, but it was really fun. It was fun. That's all I've watched. It's not anime related at all. I guess there's an animated show, but it wasn't anime either, so.
Yeah. Well, I have been getting caught back up on One Piece, the anime, even though I've been reading the manga, nonstop.
You're diligent on that,
forever.
right? Yeah.
Yeah. I just love One Piece so much, and the anime is getting so good that it's like it rivals the manga. I don't think it's ever going to fully sell me on it being better than the manga, but I will definitely continue to watch it and love it in 2 different ways.
Speaking of which, I gotta put this. I'm gonna do some tip tapping right now because I have completely forgotten to put the new season of One Piece on our to watch list, and I'm gonna throw it on there right now.
Yeah,
One
it's
Piece
gonna be
live
like a
action.
special for us. I think that we're gonna chat about this more in our upcoming thing that we haven't told people about. We're doing press coverage for Anime Central. I don't think we mentioned it, but
Mentioned
that's
in the
gonna be really exciting.
Discord, but not on the show yet. So you should join the
So
Discord.
we should be having our sign up soon for who we are going to be requesting to interview out of the guests of honor that are going to be at Anime Central. So if you have anybody that you see on that list that you want us to interview, we'll definitely see if we can. The other things is we usually try to do Blake's his thing that we do at cons, which is called cosplay, where Blake takes photos with permissions of the cosplayers, because you should always get permission with your cosplayers before you take photos, and then ask them if they want to be tagged in our posts about cosplay. And then we also usually try to find small venues or vendors that maybe could use additional coverage, and because of that we go do like these small interviews with them and then post them on the YouTube channel about it. So we're probably going to get a bunch of coverage. You're probably going to be getting that for a couple of weeks after the podcast goes to Anime Central. Hopefully in that time we will have recorded back issues of our show so that we can continue to try to move forward with on-time episodes every week.
We've been
pretty
good
well
for
a couple of months.
We're doing pretty well. We've had a few off years, and this year has not been an off year.
We're adulting. We can adult
Do you?
as adults too.
I've been. I don't know that this is a fully formed thought, but I feel that there's more pressure now that there's video, because it's like there's a new level of exposure that we are placing ourselves in, and
Mm-hmm.
it feels a lot more open and kind of intimate, I guess, to be recorded, especially because this is weird, right? Like, there's the camera. I can look at the camera. Here's my notes, which is what I'm usually either looking at my notes or I'm kind of looking off at the mountains outside my window while I'm listening. So I don't know how great I'm doing on camera, for being honest, but like it's weird. I'm not used to it yet, but the the other thing about it is that I've got my notes up on my computer screen, so I periodically can like look at myself and see, how we're holding up. But for the most part, I don't see myself, so I have this like niggling sense that I am visible, and that there are angles that I would rather you not see, that you're definitely going to be able to see, because I can't look
Yeah.
and correct them in real time because I'm busy, and
Yeah.
that it's a lot.
Yeah. All
It's
right.
very
Well,
stressful.
in the anime world news, we are at almost at the end of April. When you are listening to this episode this week, it should be the 22nd or the 23rd that we're listening that you're going to be hearing this. So that means that you have about 1 week left before we end our first giveaway.
Oh yeah.
Since we've started doing that again. So if you're interested in that, you should definitely think about doing that. We've had a lot of people like and reshare the stuff, which is cool. So I'm going to be eventually giving away and then letting the person know who it is.
Can you
Um,
remind people who have not been listening to our other episodes, what do they have to do to enter this giveaway?
Okay, so if you want to enter into the giveaway, I originally said that you could just you'd like, retweet, reshare, whatever you wanted to do with the post itself, just so that you could, we could have a little bit more support with something like this. We are giving this away completely free of charge. If you are signing up for it, there's literally nothing that we expect other than you to just like, share, do whatever you want to do to try to support the show. That's like we're not asking a lot of it,
So is it
and
is
you
it
get a
a
fun little
specific
Funko Pop.
post? Are they supposed to grab a specific post and like repost it, or are they supposed to at us in a post? Like, how do they connect those
No,
dots?
you just have to interact with the posts about this specifically. So there's one that is on Twitter, it's on Blue Sky, it's on Instagram, with just like a "we're giving this away" sort of thing. And so if they just want to retweet anything about the show or that one specifically, they can be entered in. I'm going to post about it again this week a couple of times, so hopefully we get more people interested. But I mean, at the end of the day, it's just fun.
Yeah,
Anyways,
it's a cute free thing.
hey Blake, what else did we get to do this week? I'm pretty sure it was watch Trigun.
It was Watch Trigun. We watched
Oh
Trigun
man,
based off of the uh, best 100 anime of all time scratch sheet that was posted as an image in our Discord by Saratobi the God. We watched the first 3 episodes, although I won't fault you for watching more than that. Here's a
yeah,
little
for
bit
real.
of background on Trigun. It is a Japanese manga. It was serialized from March of 95 to December of 96, collected in 3 tankobon volumes. Then the publication that it was being released in stopped doing magazines. They went defunct, or they just stopped doing it or something. So then the series was picked up by another magazine and continued its publication starting in October of 97, so almost a year long break, and then running through March of 2007. So this republished the first volumes of Trigun in 2 volumes, and then the rebooted version was called Trigun Maximum, and that was collected in 14 volumes. So if you're counting on that publication run, it's 16 total. But those first 2 could technically be 3, depending on which ones you're getting. So
Yeah,
there's a planet called No Man's Land, which is in space or whatever. And there's a character named Vash the Stampede, who is a very famous, very infamous gunman who is constantly going after bounty hunters, and there is a huge bounty on his head. And so he gets into a lot of scrapes because people are trying to get the money for taking him down while he is going around and managing various ne'er do wells. And there's also a pair of women who work for an insurance company that are trying to find Vash the Stampede because he is an insurance liability. And they keep running into Vash the Stampede, but he is a goofy idiot, so they don't think it's him. And, I don't know, hijinks ensue, basically.
Yeah.
So this originated from the author's fascination with westerns. He wanted Vash to be different from the cowboys in western movies by avoiding killing enemies, and instead he wanted to explore the characters involved in each story arc. So the show, at least for the first 3 episodes, is very, very episodic. Each episode is like, this is the story of this episode, and Vash and the two women from the agency sort of find their way into the story, and then it plays out. So the
Mm-hmm.
anime series is a 26 episode anime. It was made by Studio Madhouse, and it aired from April to September of 1998. I'll point out that that is 1 year after Trigun got picked back up and started releasing. So 1 year into new chapters after its initial year-long run concluded. So I'm not quite sure where in the genealogy this falls as far as how much is anime only, how much is just from the first run of manga, and how much is pulled from the more recent run of manga. There's also an anime feature film, Trigun Badlands Rumble, that came out in April of 2010 in Japan,
Ooh.
and here in the States a little bit after that. There's also a second anime television series. This was news to me. Produced by Orange, titled Trigun Stampede, and it was broadcast from January to March of 2023, with a sequel titled Trigun Stargaze, broadcast from January to March of 2026, which is this year. So go figure, there's
Yeah.
more Trigun.
We here's the thing. So Trigun, the first series, is widely considered to be like one of the best anime that's ever been made. One of the biggest reasons why is that it not only introduces it not only blends very, very good action inside of anime, but it also creates a storyline that it keeps on you wondering why and when and where and how this all is happening. So it leaves you in suspense a lot, just with like how little it's telling you. And then it also introduces one of the things that is very rare, especially for Blake and I, inside of anime, which is anime comedy that's actually funny.
Mm-hmm.
um, I genuinely laughed at rewatching these episodes, especially when they went in and like, oh gosh, I think her name is Mary. She's like
That's definitely
the
one of
the
them. Two
she's
women
much
from
taller,
Trigun. So there's
so she's
Millie.
she's much.
Millie is the top tall one, and Meryl is the shorter one.
Okay, so Millie Millie is carrying around like a gigantic gun because she is also insanely strong.
Mm-hmm.
And it like falls and like hits this thing underneath this guy's mouth that's being like very, very horrible. And he just gets completely decked out, and I like giggled to myself. And there were a lot of moments where like Vash is like very much a cartoon character from like the Looney Tunes,
Yet,
and the way that he responds to things just will straight up like make you laugh out loud. This show holds up in a way that not a lot of older shows that like from my childhood that I was like, oh my god, I loved this show when I was a kid, right?
uh huh.
I was watching Trigun when it was coming out in the United States for the first time. I don't know exactly when that was. I believe it was on like a Toonami run.
Yeah.
Um, and I think it was on like the Midnight Run is like the oldest Toonami run that had like Cowboy Bebop,
The Big
Trigun, all these
O.
shows put together on it. Big O, yeah.
Yeah.
And it was coming out, and it just blew me away because there's some episodes that are just very silly. Then there's other episodes where it gets really, really serious. to a point where you're just like, what? Who the fuck is this person? And the creator of the manga and the subsequent adaptation into the anime does a beautiful job of blending together this like this continued wondering of like, is this person putting on a mask, or is this person for real? Like, you don't really even know how deep the well goes with Vash the Stampede, and you get a taste of it in many episodes of it. Especially in this, like in the first episode, there's a little bit, but the second episode, you get to like him having like these deep existential moments for a moment, and then him like snapping back into like this comedic wacky character again,
Mm-hmm.
and you're just like, how deep does this well go? And it's just, oh man, he's a very 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 well run, like well rounded main character, and I think he's probably goes down as like one of the best anime protagonists of all time.
Yeah, I definitely agree. The comedy was good. I was laughing periodically. I was giggling a bunch, but I also was just like grinning the whole time I was watching this. And my initial experience with Trigun was many years ago, probably about 12 years ago. Was I think when I first watched it. Um, when I moved to San Francisco after college, I had watched a little bit of Cowboy Bebop in high school and had not clicked with it. And then I rewatched it when I moved in with my boyfriend after college, and we watched all of Cowboy Bebop, and then I think after that we watched Trigun because they came out in the States at the same time. He probably watched it on Toonami when he was growing up too. And then I think they have a lot of similarities in the fact that they're both 26 episode anime series that are mostly episodic but that have a through line. Um, and they are set in space in a sci-fi future that is mostly run down, and they are both gun using bounty hunters in space with a sort of Western influence on the production. I also think they're super different series as far as like how they play out. You know, Cowboy Bebop is much more like going from planet to planet and there's spaceships and stuff like that. Whereas uh, Trigun is much more on the ground. But
Yeah.
there's a lot of similarities and they came out at similar times. So I think a lot of the time when you're talking about great anime, when you mention one, it makes you think of the other one.
Mm-hmm.
So I remember rewatching or finally sitting down to fully watch Cowboy Bebop and Trigun and Evangelion as a sort of like, you know, the big hits. Let's sit and watch them when I first moved to San Francisco, and I fell for Cowboy Bebop very hard and was like, I don't know why I missed it the first time, but I'm so glad we rewatched it. I love Cowboy Bebop, and then I watched Trigun and I thought it was fun, but I wasn't like enamored with it. Um, it's like it's not that I didn't like it. It's just that like Cowboy Bebop really worked on me, and then Trigun was like fine. Sort of understood the merit.
Mm.
Rewatching it now, I was just like, oh my god, this is phenomenal. It's an extremely well told story. Each of the three episodes does a really good job of telling a self contained story. It introduces new characters in each episode that you feel like you still have plenty of time to sort of get to know. And there are strong, successful emotional beats, but there's also a lot of like hijinks and fun and goofiness. And there are stakes, but you're also still having a good time. And I think that comes down to like the core conceit, at least of the early episodes. I would say probably for the majority of the show, but I don't remember how many serious episodes there are, and I don't remember if that's like a turn in the show or if it's like Cowboy
Mm-hmm.
Bebop where it's just like some of the episodes are kind of like the main storyline and things are very serious and the rest of them are allowed to be whatever that episode wants to be. But
Yeah.
the core conceit is like Vash the Stampede is this figure that everyone is terrified of because whenever he visits town, death and destruction are left in his wake. Except that people keep commenting that actually nobody ends up dying and it's kind of a miracle. And then
Yeah.
you meet
So the
Vash.
people that are the most concerned about it end up being the insurance companies.
Right, which is great. Such a good touch. And you meet Vash, and you know that it's him. It's very clearly him. They keep describing Vash, and it is an exact description of this guy on the screen. But he acts like this like goofy idiot. And then stuff will happen. There will be a gunfight, and he will miraculously avoid being hit, and he will drop a gun and have it shoot the other gun out of somebody's hand without hurting them and stuff like that. And it's like you can
Yeah.
just tell like this guy is fully in control of this situation, but this persona of the bumbling buffoon is also like to the forefront, and it's this really fun story of this guy who clearly doesn't want the notoriety of being Vash the Stampede, and who is clearly trying to do the right thing and enact justice in the scenarios in which he finds himself. And then the villainous individuals that he's put up against cause sort of wanton destruction that he protects the people around it from. And then he
Mm-hmm.
is blamed for having caused all of the destruction. So it's this really fun
Yeah.
sort of dramatic irony that you get to wallow in with him. And that's heightened by these two women that are following him around. And you have one that's the sort of no nonsense. This guy's definitely not Vash the Stampede. He's an idiot and I hate him. And then the tall woman who's just like happy to be here, sort of a ray of sunshine no matter what's happening, and who by the end of the third episode is like, I'm pretty sure he's Vash the Stampede. And it's just so fun, and I just could not wipe this grin off my face with how good every aspect of it was. It was just a blast to watch. Like it's a
Yeah.
classic. It totally holds up. There was also like I gotta say some objectionable material a little bit in I want to say the second episode when they're at the mansion, where like Vash is one of the rumors about him is that he's a womanizer, and that seems to be true, at least of the persona that actual Vash is putting forward, in that he seems to be peeking in on a woman when she's using the shower. And I have really mixed feelings about it because I'm opposed to that, and I don't think that like our heroes should do stuff like that and still be shown to be like purely heroic. But also the way that Vash is like putting on this act and is actually like a very shrewd and calculating person, it has me intrigued. And also he does it like he's climbing down a spider web, and visually it's very funny. So I don't know, even that kind of gets a pass, even though I wag my finger at it, but I'm like, the way that they did it wasn't heavy handed. He does not actually end up seeing her doing anything because it actually moves the plot forward. It's not for no reason, I guess. I don't know. Like I kind of maybe wish they did something else there, but like it worked really well and it wasn't gross in the way that these usually are. So even that is the thing that I would like highlight as what didn't work for me, and it still kind of worked for me in ways that I have clearly complicated feelings about. So anyway, in summation, you should watch this. Trigun is very, very good.
All right. Now let's go ahead and get into Fire Force.
Oh,
Blake, I have a minute on the clock. Are you ready?
give me a second.
He's got to go die really quick.
Yeah, I am ever so slightly sick with allergies, so I think I can talk. I can talk my way through this. It's
All right.
fine.
Here we go. Three,
Okay.
two, one, and go.
All right, so Shinra has fire powers. He can shoot fire out of his feet and kind of jet himself around. He works for the Fire Force, which is a group of firefighting individuals who try to stop spontaneously combusting people who turn themselves into demons on accident. It turns out that the people who are turning into demons are being turned into demons, and the organization responsible for it seems to be following this character called the fuck. Where is it written down? I don't know what it is called. the
Evangelist.
evangelist, and they have gone into the old abandoned subway tunnels to find the evangelist's followers and fight them. Shinra's brother, who has been believed dead, is named Sho. Has been revealed to be alive and maybe leading the evangelist's followers, and they're gonna see if they can meet up in this. But we have also got some house settling to do from last time with some of these other people. Surely it's been a
All right.
minute.
Time.
Yeah.
Surely it's been a minute.
I knew I couldn't get into it, so especially not with my
Yeah.
evangelist fumble.
All right. Well, we are going to be starting with episode 21, Those Connected. This one is going to be starting out with the very end of the fight that we started in the last episode, where it's going to be Obi and Vulcan. They're fighting against Lisa and her, like, I don't know, like octopus fire that she has.
Something about magnetism.
Yeah. Yeah, so they're magnetically drawn in. The big thing inside of this episode is that I feel like you get a good feeling of like why they're so dangerous as characters, especially like the white clad. They have been brainwashing these people much like a cult, because they are a cult, and they have been forcing these people to slowly but surely become completely reliant on them, to the point where like Lisa is begging for them to leave so that she can go with Giovanni, while Giovanni is like actively killing her when she's failing him. Obi does this moment where he throws all of these different fire suppressant grenades around her, setting up this big moment where he knocks out all of her firepower. Giovanni takes her so that Vulcan will shoot Obi as like a hostage situation, and Lisa
like
still is begging to go with Giovanni.
Yeah, this is really interesting. I like this a lot because like Vulcan is trying so hard to be like, you're still the person I thought you were to me, even if you revealed yourself to be a double agent and insincere and stuff like that. But like he just he's kind of Narutoing here, where he's like, we have a connection and I'm gonna will that to be the truth. And you can tell that she's conflicted. I think that's why this works so well, because she clearly was not able to keep her feelings out of it, and there is sincerity and gratefulness and a connection between her and Vulcan. But yeah, the brainwashing goes deep, and so like Giovanni is just like choking her out and threatening her life and saying that she's a failure, and she's like, cool, let's roll it again, like it's just it's really good tension. And yeah, so Giovanni is like, you got to shoot Obi or I'm gonna, I think, decapitate her. And so Vulcan hems and haws for not that long and then shoots Obi like in the head, right? Or maybe the chest?
No, he shoots him in the chest, but it's revealed that Obi has a new chest plate that he had put in by Vulcan, and basically it was a trust fall situation where like Obi's just like, shoot me, I'll pretend to be down enough for you to get Lisa away from Giovanni. So that's what happens. They have a quick back and forth until Giovanni is eventually forced to lurk back into the shadows away from them. They pick Lisa back up, and then we cut to the most important fight of the entirety of these episodes that they have been up underground, but it is going to be the fight between Sho and Shinra. Shinra and Sho are faced up against each other. Shinra is going to continue to try to move faster, and then there's something that keeps on happening that's weird between Sho and Shinra that Shinra doesn't really understand to start with, but starts to slowly understand more, which is his connection with Sho uses this Adola burst. So it's like a communication between this fire that's inside of his body and inside of Sho's body. And it will show visions of things when the Adola burst happens, of like high emotional memories. And Shinra unconsciously starts to force memories into Sho's brain. that start to aggravate Sho to the point where he's just like, stop showing me these things. You may have been my brother, but that doesn't matter. Blood doesn't matter. The only thing that matters is the evangelist, this person, this thing that's inside of me that gives me the power and shows me the right way to move in this world. And he's like, no, you need to come with me because you're my little brother and I always promised I would protect you. And he's like, that doesn't matter. You're useless. You matter nothing to me. You mean literally nothing to me. Stop talking about this. I don't care. And then, fuck, man, when they show off the way that they can express what the world is under the world, I was just like, holy shit, they pushed this show to another level. Because Sho is going to pull Shinra into his dimension. And in his dimension, there is a giant white-clad person standing behind Sho. And he is like, this is the embodiment of the evangelist. You call him Death. And you're like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
And then it's revealed that Sho's power is so powerful because he has been touched by the evangelist that he is able to slow the heat expansion of the universe in order to stop time. Like,
Yeah.
what the fuck?
I gotta say, this is not the first batch of Fire Force episodes where I'm like, boy, are they stretching the bounds of what can be justifiably accomplished by a firepower. And they've made it pretty clear that firepowers also include heat. But yeah, I was not expecting, number one, I was not expecting the heat death of the universe to be manipulated. And that would allow time, not time travel exactly, although we'll get there. Uh, but he's stopping time. He's basically able to stop time for everyone else. So the ability to he's been shown to sort of disappear and instantaneously reappear somewhere else. And this is usually in the form of you're about to hit him and suddenly he is kind of past you and striking you from behind. And in most of these things, it's like, oh, he's moving so fast you can't see it or something like that. But no, he's stopping time and then do-si-doing around you and then hitting you. And that's it is done well enough here that it works fine. But there's definitely a moment where I was like, this is a lot for powers based on fire.
Yeah, it's a little bit of an ass pull, much in a way that I had a moment where I was like, this is better explained weirdly scientifically through this magic system, but also it's done in a way that's almost less fun as as fucking Goldo from Dragon Ball Z who could stop time by holding his breath. Like
Yeah.
there's a lot of these things that like they a little bit ass pull, but at the same time I'm like, it's wacky enough and done by the creator of Soul Eater enough that I just respect it.
Yeah,
The wackiness being accepted.
I do. I think that Fire Force gets away with a lot because even if you don't know that it's the Soul Eater guy, or if you haven't watched Soul Eater, which you should, and we've covered it, so you can listen to that. It's to, the stakes of this world are relatively grounded. I mean, we are talking about like a world-ending scenario, but then there's also the drama with the brothers, and that's pretty graspable. But the powers and the fights, they're wacky. I mean, they're not like funny, but they're wild. They take big swings, and it's like it would be one thing if this had been a very focused. It would be one thing if this were Darker Than Black. Darker Than Black is like pretty grounded, I want to say, and it feels like it sort of like mutes the bigness of its powers by utilizing its magic system to keep things balanced. And this is a little bit more like how big can we go? And I'm having this moment with Fire Force that I also have had with Jujutsu Kaisen. I think I mentioned it in our most recent episode before this one, where it's like I'm kind of shocked at how big these modern anime are going so early on. Like Jujutsu Kaisen, we just finished season 2. These episodes today here for Fire Force are the end of season 1. And it's like the story keeps going. I think Fire Force only runs for 3 seasons, right? But like Jujutsu Kaisen is pretty long, and like the absolute display of like overwhelming power that is just unleashed by multiple characters in those episodes is the kind of thing that you don't usually see until you're kind of getting to the story's final boss. And in the same way
Yeah.
here, I was like, I kind of can't believe that we're doing stopping time with the heat expansion of the universe, and also the other thing that's going to happen as far as stretching the bounds of fire powers in this episode, where it's like this kind of feels like end game shit, but it's actually just the end of the first episode or the first season, and there's 2 more seasons after this one. Like
Oh,
we're a
Blake,
third of the
were
way
you
through this
talking about
show.
episode? Were you talking about episode 22, A Brother's
I
Determination,
believe I was.
where our other character, Shinra, moves so fast with his firepower
Uh-huh.
that he becomes the speed of light, then
Um,
faster than the speed of light, causing his molecular bonds to fall apart, and then him to travel slightly back in time so that his body will recombobulate itself on a different place as it's moved light speed and broken apart,
uh-huh.
and it's just fucking insanity.
Yeah,
So
so
Sho
let's just
freezes time but doesn't see Shinra, and he's like, where the fuck are you?
uh
And then it's revealed that Shinra has turned into basically atoms that cannot be understood around him,
yeah,
and a light force, and then when he unstops time, he then appears somewhere else.
it made me think of Kung Fury when it's like we can hack our way back through time. I was just like, okay,
uh,
Shinra's powers are jet feet. This has now, in the course of 22 episodes, translated into blasting fast enough to break the speed of light in a localized area such that your physical body can't maintain itself and disintegrates. But also
mhm.
because of the weirdness of how speed and time interact, allowing you to reconstitute yourself through going fast enough to travel through time, such that in your perception, you basically go fast enough to almost teleport somewhere. But
Mhm.
based on the mad scientist character who's watching this fight, you're actually killing yourself and then reappearing alive again back in time just a half second.
Yeah.
And that's what you can do with the
Leading to
powers of fire.
Yeah. Leading to a back and forth that is a fantastic back and forth battle. It leads into episode 23, Smile, where we're going to have a battle that's going to be on top. That's really cool, that you should definitely watch, between Shinra and Sho. That's happening back and forth and back and forth and back and forth, building up this tension. But also, the most important thing that's happening is underneath, which is that these Adola links that are happening between Sho and Shinra are slowly breaking apart the connection that Sho has with the evangelist, and because of that, he's starting to remember who he is and remember this love that Shinra has for him. And you remember these memories that he's like, stop putting these in my head. You're putting these in my head, until a point where he's like, oh my God, is he not putting them in my head? Is this a real memory that is
Uh-huh.
from my past that I don't remember? There's this beautiful memory where like Shinra goes to save Sho from it's like a newspaper that fell over his crib when he was a baby and he was in darkness, and Shinra like pulls him out and pulls it off of his face, and he's like, look, I know you were scared and you were in the dark, but I'm always going to pull you out. And it's just beautiful.
Yeah,
And
there's
Sho starts to break down, and just in the moment where Shinra finally connects with him, you cut back to reality, and Shinra has gone so fast and reconstituted himself around Sho's sword. So he's standing in front of him, completely stabbed through the chest.
yeah, so I want to focus in on the Adola Link thing too, because you talked about it earlier where the Adola Link is in fact linking these Adola Burst users. And we've seen it happen with Shinra a few times where a powerful fire user around him kind of buzzes him a little bit. Like it looks like he kind of like senses them, but it kind of knocks him off his game a little bit for a sec. And
Mm-hmm.
then this memory exchange starts happening because Shinra early on in this fight notices that each time the Adola link has happened, it's been caused by strong emotions around him. So what initially happens in this fight is that Shinra is feeling very strong emotions because of this, this love for his brother and this desperation to save him. And this causes him to unconsciously push memories into Sho's head. And if I remember correctly, they're kind of unformed memories, or sort of like they're almost like a dream where it's like you kind of half remember images and feelings and stuff like that, but it's not like a fully fledged thing initially. And then Shinra starts to realize, like, okay, this Adola Link thing, I can take advantage of this and actively engage with it. And so, like, as this fight is going on, he starts to intentionally sort of force these memories back into Sho's head, who, Sho, I think, has the meta knowledge of the Adola Link to initially not believe it because somebody who wanted to could theoretically craft a false memory using this technology. But yeah, then he has this moment of realization where he's like, "Oh my gosh, these are actual memories. This is like, I don't know. It's not like
Yeah.
he didn't necessarily believe that Shinra was his brother, but he didn't care, and it's definitely in part because he does not have a clear memory of that. And now that he has those
Mm-hmm.
memories of that, he's struggling with it. But yeah,
Yeah.
that does bring us to this moment where there's sort of an emotional peak in that storyline, and then Shinra is just stabbed through the chest.
Yeah. And that takes us into the breakdown of this episode. It takes us into episode 23, Smile, where there is that final connection, and then we get a flashback that we learn about things that have been happening in the past. And the way that we get this flashback first is we get a character that we have not met before, but we found out also has an Adola burst. Her name is Haume, and she has the ability to basically cause the electrons in your electrical connections, your synapses in your brain to discombobulate and to stop working. And so she is trying to use that. She uses it to make it to where Sho can't respond anymore in the way that he was responding before. He becomes basically somebody that being puppeted under her control, and they are able to take Sho away. She's going to use it to defeat the rest of the Fire Force Company 8 members and then take Shinra, but she can't do that because turns out Arthur is also an Adola carrier, and he uses plasma. And because of this plasma blade that he has keeps on fucking with her electrical impulses. And she's just like, son of a bitch. Like, I can't use it correctly when this asshole is around. So we just need to escape. And they're just like, we are eventually going to try to kick off the next great cataclysm that is going to wipe out everybody else in the world. And there's this great moment where she's telling them all this, and like the other guy that's there is just like, maybe don't tell them all of our great plans. And she's
Uh-huh.
like, it doesn't matter, I'm gonna kill them all anyways.
Yeah, so they are. I think we've covered this before, but if we haven't, they are literally a doomsday cult. Like
Yep.
they are trying to explode the world, and we also get a really fascinating flashback in these episodes that tells us the story of
it
Shinra's the night that Shinra's family was presumed to have died.
it
And
kind of happens this episode and next episode, which is 24, the burning past,
oh,
because Burns is going to tell the
oh
story about what
right.
happened when he was there.
Sorry, I thought that
um
happened during this fight. So yeah, I was jumping the gun a little bit. So yeah,
yeah
basically
when
they get out of the subway tunnels. Shinra is very injured, and he's got to go get
yeah
medicaled.
Yeah, it turns out that the leader of Company 6, her name is Director Kayako Huang. She has the ability to use this fire serpent flame to heal your body and also heal your internal flame. She uses it to like burn out all of the things that are fucking up Shinra on
Just
the
burns up all your
inside.
carbs.
Um, yeah, and she picks him up much like a Sega Genesis or a Nintendo cartridge and blows out all of the dust and stuff, and then
Yeah.
puts him back in and restarts.
Yeah.
Um, Anyways, he is going to wake up, be very hungry, and receive some food. But also, this food is given to him by Burns. Burns is going to then have a confrontation with Shinra, where they are going to fight each other to show their resolve, and Burns is going to reveal what happened in the past. He was the Fire Force person that went and collected Shinra when he was a kid. He was also the person there that dealt with the fire while he was a kid. But it's also going to be revealed inside of these memories that Shinra has seen these things, this person that was there. And it was this monster that had like horns in the front of its face. And it turns out that that was their mother who had she had been activated into an infernal. Her motherly impulse to save her children was so strong that she forced herself in her understanding to push her to basically look at the face of the sun, which is the evangelist, and move her horns into her eyes so that she could move around and save her son's show. She's reacting almost on impulse as this monster, and she is going to take Show and deliver him to the cult members, the White Clad that are there, which is a different White Clad, and also Jaime, or I think Jaime. Is it Jaime or Jaime?
Haumea,
Haumea?
Haumea, but
God, I'm bad at
I
pronouncing
don't
this.
remember them saying it, and it's not like a usual
Yeah,
Japanese or American name, so I can't piece it out. But yeah, so
yeah.
she's there manipulating things from afar as part of this. And also Burns is
Mm-hmm.
going to reveal that he knew that the brothers had the Adola burst
Yep.
and that they might be targeted by this organization because this organization was known to be active during this time. They are also going to reveal in this flashback that, and I don't know how this plays in with him knowing the brothers had the Adola burst, but like Sho was basically born with a connection to the Adola burst, but it wasn't until this event that Shinra's Adola burst was activated. And so this is
Yeah.
the reason why Sho was taken as a baby and Shinra was not, because his burst hadn't activated and the villainous organization didn't realize he had it.
Yeah.
Otherwise, they would have
And
taken him too.
and Burns admits as well that he's just like, look, I could have told you then what happened, but you were so weak that you wouldn't be able to stand up to it. And he's telling him now, after they have the showdown where Shinra's trying to show him what he has become, that Burns is just like, if I hadn't put you in this situation, you would have never grown into this. You would have never learned to hate fire. You would have never pushed yourself to this point where you were going to be able to actually do something about it.
Well,
And
he actually says that he did not want Shinra involved. He was trying to
y-
dismantle the White Clad's plans by denying them the Adola burst, by essentially making Shinra hate fire so much that he would never realize his fire powers, or if he did, he would never use them.
because he
And
hated fire.
right, but instead Shinra was like, I hate fire, so I want to stamp it out using my own fire powers. And it,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, backfired or whatever. Not exactly, but kind of. I mean, it definitely didn't go the way that Burns wanted it to. Burns is also going to
Yeah,
reveal that he wears an eye patch because he looked at the evangelist too. And the eye that he used to
yes,
look at the
which is
evangelist is gone, but it gave him an Adola burst.
yeah. It's fucking wild actually. Like the amount of depth and interesting things that happen in this show just as it goes on, it just gets deeper and deeper, and I really love that about it. You also start to really be interested in Burns and like what the fuck he is,
Mm-hmm.
because as he gets more frustrated, his like eye patch begins to burn off of his face, because it's like his activated burst as well, and then like you see that by the end of it, Shinra is going to show the resolve to Burns to the point where he's just like, you and me and the rest of the Fire Force are going to work together, Company 8 included, and we are going to deal with this. And he has been accepted by Burns as well as somebody strong enough that he is going to be able to stand up against the Evangelist now. And we see this great moment of them connecting together before it's the end of the episodes.
Yeah, the big
So
cliffhanger here for season 1 is that his mom might still be alive. Like, I think this was the
yeah,
big twist for me, was that the demon. I've assumed, and you know, you're clearly meant to assume this, but I have assumed throughout this whole time that the demon was a demon that caused this fire for whatever fucking reason. I did not assume that it was because the kids had the Adola burst and that it was a plot to steal show away. I just kind of thought that was maybe like incidental or something like that. And I definitely assumed that his mom infernalized and burned up. And nope,
yep,
she's the demon, and she is not confirmed, but is basically assumed to potentially still be alive. So now Shinra's like,
yeah.
I want to rescue both members of my family and get them back. So
Yeah, it's a great cliffhanger to leave you with, and stick with us, because we'll be talking about more of it, not next week, but soon.
soon.
Anyways, here are the credits. Thank you so much for listening to this episode of Blake and Spencer Get Jumped. If you're interested in finding more episodes of our show, you can join us over at getjumped.buzzsprout.com. It has all of our links for our social media and for our Discord as well if you want to get involved and start chatting with us. Also, if you are interested in more content like Blake and Spencer Get Jumped, or you just want to read random musings on Blake's blog, you can go over to thegeeklygrind.com. You can get all of our episodes there, as well as weekly content from Blake's blog. All right, see you next time.
Next time on Blake and Spencer Get Jumped, for patrons, we're watching Bleach episodes 132 through 135. And then, on our regularly scheduled programming, we'll be watching Jujutsu Kaisen episodes 48 through 51.
Where we get to watch an amazing fight between demons that are from another world that have big giant things missing from their souls. And also, we will watch Jujutsu Kaisen.
Wait, hold on. I fucked this up. Our next thing is Naruto.
Okay, then, well, stop fucking it up then.